Oh, yeah.
It's time now for Comfort Time Live. Comfort Time Live is a call in radio show educating you on issues surrounding your home. Don't become a statistic. Listen in and find out how you can protect yourself. Comfort Time Live. Comfort Time Live. And now, here's your host, your personal comfort consultant, tackling all of your home comfort issues. Here he is, Tom Platania.
Keep that going, man. I'm going to enjoy that. I don't have better people clapping for me. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another Thursday edition of Cover Time Live. I'm Tom Platania, your host, and we are here for an enjoyable evening of education and knowledge. We have a beautiful young lady in the studio with us, and she's gonna help us to bring some knowledge to the table today, especially with the weather we had out today. We're going to be talking with the beautiful Kathy Post from Post Insurance.
Well, hi there.
Hello, Miss Kathy, and she's going to help us understand why you should have been digging in your safe today to find out if you had flood insurance.
Yeah, we had quite a bit of rain, didn't we?
You did. And you said there was a flood advisory.
I heard that there was a flood advisory somewhere along the Treasure Coast, Palm Beach area. So
you're making fun of my pants that they're so high, or we're just literally that there was a flood
I
advisory?
didn't really think there was.
Oh, okay.
Well, you know,
But you know that too. Now that you mention it.
he did bring it up.
You know, when you're wearing Walmart blue light specials and you've been wearing them for 6 years, you know. I figure if I wear them a couple more years, as you get older, your body starts to shrink.
There you go.
Eventually, they'll catch up with my ankles.
And the trend will come back around, and you'll be all trendy
There
again.
you go. There you go. See that?
Old but trendy.
Thinking ahead.
They'll be the vintage look.
There you go. I like that.
Fully
you're talking
raggedy,
about
and you
fine
can sell
wine?
them for $95.
Fine wine or old scotch?
Yeah. Oh, well, we got a great show for you. And I tell you, don't forget to go to comforttimelive.com where you can watch this show live. You can watch us live in the studio and take a look at the good reason as to why I'm behind the microphone and not in front of the TV screen. And all kinds of great things happening this week. This was our very first week that we were live on WSTU.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah,
That's
it was
fantastic.
awesome. It was exciting. You know, I'm spoiled here at WPSL because of Cliff. You know, he is just an absolute,
I can see why.
He's a mastermind.
What? It beats giving tips, right? It's like compliments. We'll get you everywhere.
I have just been used over the years, you know, if there's a minor technical difficulty or if there's
He needs somebody to throw under the bus. Is what he said.
exactly,
Right, yeah.
exactly. And the guy Mike down there, he's young, he's new, and I felt so guilty. I'm not going to blame it on myself.
You
I
can't
got to blame
throw
it
him
on
under the bus
somebody
yet.
else.
You got to break him in first.
But no, it was great. I tell you, and the one thing I like about the studio down there is they have the real radio microphone with the boom and everything.
You like that, huh?
I like that. I just this bending over
Your age is showing again.
right? My back. Oh, my back. I got to take my Geritol later in the day.
We
But,
got you right where we want you.
But I like that. I like the microphone. No, but it was great, and it was absolutely awesome being on WSTU. And we're going to be on WSTU every Tuesday at 10 a.m. And also, as you know, we're part of the Treasure Coast Radio Network, is what we call ourselves now. And Treasure Coast Radio Network is WSTU 1450, WPSL 1590, and we have our great friends up in Vero Beach on Waxy, Angelo Veccarelli and Brenda Carmona, and they are just absolutely fabulous people, and hopefully I'll have an opportunity one day to meet them. But we got some great information for you today. We're going to be talking about some things a little bit outside the box. You know, we talk about your home, but have you ever thought about your pets or your personal belongings or things of that nature? I mean, I had a Bichon for 12 years. I mean, okay, I'm going to come out and say that. All right. Okay, I'm gonna come out and say. I mean,
Let me get
What
the
was her
hankies.
name?
the minute I said that, Kathy she just started laughing, and you know
know,
what? I
I-
got the same reaction from everybody.
You know, I wanted a Bouvier. And my husband said, no way, we ain't owning a Bouvier.
My daughters teased me all the time. They go, "You daddy gonna go out and walk his little white fluffy dog?"
They're very
Aw,
cute, though.
It
Yeah,
would look
I loved her.
so-
Her name was Blossom. and I got her from a puppy. Yeah, go ahead.
I'd have loved to put that on YouTube.
Could have named her Butch or something, but no. I let the girls name her Blossom after the Powerpuff Girls.
That's awesome.
And she was just 12 years. She made it through 2 marriages, and she still stayed with me. You know, so
The dog?
That's great.
the dog.
The alpha female, obviously.
Obviously. Yes, obviously.
She thought she was in a wolf pack. You didn't know it.
Oh, that's
but,
great.
But just with my hours and everything like that, with my daughter, went to live with her mom, and just with all my hours and everything like that, she was just having urinary tract infections and stuff like that. It wasn't the right thing. So my ex stepson took her in, so she's still in the family.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
and you get
so-
to still see her, and you
Yeah,
get to watch
yeah,
it,
get
and
to-
you still
get
get to
to-
walk her on occasion. and-
Yeah, I get to still mess around.
You left something out of the network when you were mentioning all the stations you're on and all the neat things that you're on. Is that you're on my
Oh, yeah.
you're on my
that's
cell
right.
phone, and is that an archive of shows? Or
Yeah,
what is
we
that?
are actually trying to get on iHeartRadio. Now, iHeartRadio, the stations do not necessarily have to advertise with iHeartRadio. They don't have to
Okay.
be a part of it. What iHeartRadio is, they have a site called Spreaker, and you present your show to Spreaker, and people can listen to it, just kind of like a YouTube and whatnot.
Okay.
But they have partnered with iHeartRadio. And what they do is submit the show to iHeartRadio, and if iHeartRadio feels that you got the ving and vigor to make it happen, they'll let you have your own station.
Well, that's very
So
good.
we are working on that. So everybody listening, go to Comfort Time Live, go to Spreaker, look for Comfort Time Live, and just like the show. And the more likes you have, the more followers, the better opportunity we have of being on iHeartRadio, because we'd like to have Treasure Coast Radio Network station.
There it is. Here.
Yes, barely.
Well, we
But
didn't want to.
well, let's get to our guest though. But speaking of pets,
Well, you know what you're talking about. There are a lot of things in insurance policies that are overlooked. And
Right.
so I think what we really want to try to do tonight is pick a few of those things that
Yeah.
are typically overlooked by consumers, maybe taken for granted, and they just think are automatically included, and in many cases they're not. So I'm glad we have the opportunity to kind of talk about the things that are outside the box, or the things that they think are always in the box and are not necessarily. Was that my phone? I don't think so.
oh no, what that was my iPad.
Oh.
See, I'm the bad one. You turned off your phone.
I-
I turned off my phone. I forgot my
There you
iPad.
go, all this technology.
That was my Candy Crush.
Is that Candy Crush, Candy Crack? You know, it's a very addicting game. Gotta tell you.
It is. Oh, what level you on?
31.
Oh, okay. I'm on 97 or something like that.
Yeah.
And I got a friend of mine that's like on 290 or I don't know what it was. But so what would it be with pets that would possibly be overlooked?
Well, primarily the liability coverage.
Okay.
So your homeowner policy will provide liability coverage for somebody who gets injured either
Okay.
on your property or as a result of something to do with you personally. And so your pets, because you own them and you are in control of them, would fall under that liability protection. So if they bite someone or if they cause injury to someone, then you could be held liable for those injuries.
Okay.
So your typical thought would be, well, my homeowner policy would cover me for that. But there's many instances where the liability protection either does not provide any animal liability at all, or you have to buy it back as a separate endorsement, or it might have a reduced limit. So let's say your liability limit is normally $300,000, you might have a lower limit of $25,000.
Okay.
So, clients will typically say, well, I have a little dog. My dog's not going to bite anybody. He'll lick you to death, those kinds of things. And, I'll tell you
Until it
a true
happens.
until it happens.
Until
Well,
it
I'll tell
happens.
you a very true story.
They said that about Cliff. They said Cliff
Yeah.
wouldn't bite until it happened.
But a very true story was happened to a client of mine. She was outside in her front yard at the front door with talking to her neighbor, and her little dog was out there. And a lady, she was not on a leash. The dog was not on a leash. A lady was riding her bike down the street, and the dog took off, stopped at the property line, never went outside of the property line, barking incessantly, and the poor little old lady ran into a mailbox, broke her arm, fell, pretty traumatic experience.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So my client was sued, and
We are
because
such a sue
well,
happy
Bunch of
The-
sewers.
Well, the lady she did have injuries, so
Right.
she was looking for her, medical bills and that kind of stuff. But anyway, the bottom line is we ended up paying out $15,000 for those injuries. And my client was upset because she said, my dog never left the property. But you have to be in control of your pet at all times. And there was enough reason to believe that that dog was going to leave the property. And so that is why the insurance company paid out. So whether you agree or not, that's the way the law kind of runs. And so fortunately, my client had liability protection and we paid the claim. But if you did not have liability protection, you'd be paying that out of your pocket. You'd be hiring your own attorney to defend you. And then if there was a settlement or if there was a judgment,
Now,
then
the
you'd be paying for that.
standard liability insurance, you have to specify the pets.
Basically, when you're buying a new insurance policy or you're switching from insurance company to insurance company, they should be asking you, and the application generally says,
Okay.
do you have any pets? If so, what types?
Okay. Now then it'll
And-
be then it'll be added.
And then you can hope,
You can hope.
and you want to make sure.
Hope's not a strategy.
Right.
Hope you don't have a
hope
pet
is
that-
not a strategy.
There are
You
some
want to
pets
make
they don't.
sure.
There are some pets they don't want you to have.
And
right?
there are some pets that they do not want you to have. Rottweilers, pit bulls, wolf hybrids. I mean, there are definitely
Lions and tigers and bears.
lions,
Oh, my.
tigers, and bears.
Bears, oh,
Yes, yeah. They don't want you to have those. Or if you do, they're going to absolutely exclude the liability completely. Some companies will still write you and just absolutely exclude it. Other
Wow.
companies say we don't want you at all if you have a pet like that. So it's good information for pet owners to know. The other thing is, if you don't own a pet and you think, well, I don't own a pet, I don't care about that. Well, if your son gets divorced, comes home to live with his Bichon, then all of a sudden you have taken on the liability
Right.
of now the pet and the son that has now moved back into your home. Likewise, if you're
Wow.
pet sitting for a friend while they're on vacation, I mean, you're in
So
control
you need
of
to
this
let
pet.
your insurance company know.
So you really want to know what you have and if you have that coverage. And in a lot of cases, that animal liability protection can be relatively inexpensive, $50 a year or something like that. Of course, if you get into the more vicious type dogs, then to buy liability for those dogs can be, somewhat pricey.
So they have the option to just increase the cost of that liability of the insurance,
Mhm.
or just not take the client at all.
Yes, they do.
Wow.
Yes, they do. Because there's a
Wow.
lot of exposure with dog. The average dog bite claim in this country is right at $25,000. That is the average claim
Wow.
payout for a dog bite. Yeah, and that's not just big dogs. I mean, that's the average of everybody. And there's more dog bite claims from small dogs than big dogs. Now, obviously, the severity is from the big dogs, but there's more from
Yeah.
actual small dogs.
Oh, they gotta stand up. They gotta buff out their chest.
Do burglars ever get attacked by guard dogs and try to sue the owner, and even though they were breaking the law? Is can you
I
recall
don't
anything
know.
like that?
I have not
happening?
heard that
Okay,
happening.
because it's a big rumor.
Well,
they always say
There's I've heard of cases. I haven't physically read one, but I've heard of cases where burglars have broke into somebody's house. They got injured because of something faulty in the house and sued the homeowner.
Yeah.
mean-
Or I wonder. They say some people say that if the dog attacks somebody who comes in through the window, they can sue you. But if we haven't had any cases happen, it's probably
I'm gonna look that
what
up.
they call an
I'm
urban
gonna look
legend.
that up.
An urban legend.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna look. That'd be some
Good
good
luck.
show topic.
Would be a good.
That'd be a good
I
show
can't
topic.
imagine a
Yes.
burglar. Hi there, I'm a burglar. Do you sell insurance to burglars who
Yeah.
break into people's houses? You know?
By the way, how did the dog bite you? Oh, was that on the way out the window or the way in the window?
I'm gonna call that
No.
burglar liability insurance.
Is that a cat burglar?
There
my,
you
my,
go.
my dog's trained to pull him back
Get
in.
good at this.
You're good. You're
Like,
good.
oh.
I'm gonna have her on all the time.
Okay.
All right. Well, we're gonna go ahead and take a quick break and hear from some of our sponsors. When we come back, we're gonna talk about some other personal belongings that you may not know are protected under your insurance policy. You're here with Kathy Post. You're listening to Comfort Time Live on WPSL 1590. We'll be right back.
Well, hi there. How are you? I'm Todd.
Well, hello. My name is Jack.
$3.2 billion a year are scammed and defrauded from consumers like you. Comfort Time Live, a part of the Treasure Coast Radio Network, is here to put a stop to that. Listen every Thursday night at 6:05. Find out what you can do to protect yourself. Your home is your castle. Protect it. Each week, your host, Tom Platania, and his expert guests will help educate and provide you with the best information to guide you in the right direction. That's Comfort Time Live, Thursday nights at 6:05 here on WPSL.
Elite Electric.
We can do it.
Elite Electric.
There's nothing to it.
Elite Electric.
Ooh, amazing.
Elite Electric.
Boogie, woogie, woogie, woogie.
Elite Electric specializes in all of your electrical needs, from security lighting to surge protection and everything in between. How do you think they got their name? Elite Electric. Elite Electric has been family owned and operated on the Treasure Coast since 1988, and they're recommended by Comfort Time Live. Visit online at eliteelectricandair.com and learn more about their services. Elite Electric. Service today. Proud sponsor of Comfort Time Live every Thursday evening at 6:05 on WPSL 1590.
No matter what you want, just pick up your phone, say, come on, Elite.
And we'll get the job done.
We can do it.
Elite Electric.
There's nothing to it.
Elite Electric.
No one expects disaster to happen to them, but when it does, you can be sure United Water Restoration will be there when you need them the most. They've been helping people put their homes and their lives back together for more than 15 years. With 24/7 service and 45 minutes to your door response time, you can trust United Water Restoration with your mold, water, fire, and smoke damage. Call for a free in-home inspection and estimate at 888-535-4909. United Water Restoration.
And now back to Comfort Time Live with Tom Platania.
I'm looking at him. Okay, you waiting for me?
He's sitting right over there.
All right, welcome to Comfort Time Live, ladies and gentlemen. 340-1590. If you would like to give a call here to Kathy and you want to ask her some questions, I know you have questions. She has people in her office every single day of the week asking her questions, and I guarantee you that one of you is sitting out there right now that are probably thinking the same thing that one of those people are. So call in. You don't even have to give your name. Or if you're a little on the shy side and you have a computer, you can go to comforttimelive.com, and there's a little chat room. And you don't have to put a name or anything in there. You can just chat a question that you have. You know, maybe it could be about pets, or it could be about flood insurance, or it could be about screening closers that we're going to touch base here on just a moment.
Car insurance, business insurance, we do
Yeah.
it all.
Like
Except
the,
health insurance. We don't want to talk about health insurance.
Not health insurance, but no. Funny commercial was I like the one with the I don't know what the company is. We don't have to mention the company's name, but they got the people jumping all over the car called Rate Suckers.
Yes.
Now, is that I guess that's pretty true to anything in life, is that one bad apple spoils the bunch for everybody. But is that typically true in the insurance industry, that rates are set by the masses?
Well, it can be, and one of the big problems we have in Florida is the amount of fraud that has been happening.
There's fraud in Florida?
Imagine? Really?
I mean, that would be like somebody
Only
wanting to...
good people come to Florida.
Yeah,
What's
I
that
mean,
all
that would be like somebody wanting to create a radio show about fraud. I mean, I wouldn't know where you'd find a show like that, because it was fraud in Florida.
So, but that does definitely drive up insurance costs. So maybe not one bad apple, but a bunch of bad apples definitely drive up costs. They also create problems for those of us that are trying to do things legitimately. So the industry can be shifted by some of those issues, and we see it ongoing every day, and it's sad.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I mean, when you buy an auto insurance policy, you buy liability insurance to protect yourself against getting sued, and then you have to buy uninsured motorist coverage to protect yourself in case somebody hits you that has no insurance or not enough insurance. And 40% of the people in the state either have the minimum or no insurance. So you've
40% of the people.
got to protect yourself against that, to make sure that you're covering yourself for those items.
Now, it's the law to have insurance on your car, right?
There are minimum coverages that you must have in order to get a tag. Yes.
In order to get a tag.
Yes,
Okay.
that is basic property damage liability of 10,000 and PIP.
And that's,
that is
I
it.
mean, unless of course you have a loan on the vehicle or a lease on the vehicle,
right.
which they require
Yes.
much higher.
And then
than
if you
that.
want to meet the financial responsibility law, then you have to carry minimum bodily injury liability of 1020.
And bodily injury covers the person that you're going to hit.
Yes, for their
Okay.
injuries up to $10,000.
So you run into me, that would cover me.
Yes.
Okay.
If I was at fault, yes, that's correct. Yeah. So
Or
the
if you
state
didn't
basically
intentionally
said,
do it.
right. So
Right.
basically said, the state basically says, you know, I got to protect you up to $10,000 of your medical bills. So it doesn't take much to run up 10 or 20, 30, 40, $100,000 worth of medical bills. So
Yeah, I can imagine. Well, yeah, especially with the cost of, the 26 MRIs and the things that I don't know. We don't have to go down the
Yes.
Obamacare trail or anything
Yes.
like that. So, so what about personal belongings in the home?
well, you know, this is another thing that sometimes gets overlooked with people. You have, with your homeowner's insurance, you have a limit of contents coverage, which is your personal property, your contents value. In a lot of cases, it's 50% of the house value. So if you have your house insured for $200,000, you're going to have $100,000 worth of contents.
Really?
Sounds like a lot, right?
Wow.
Great. You want to make sure you have replacement cost coverage on that contents limit, because if you don't and you have a claim, then the insurance company is going to depreciate everything, which means if your house goes on fire and then you're going to come in and replace your shoes and your clothes, then they're going to pay you the depreciated value, which is like thrift store, which is not enough to go out and replace it. So the point to that is you want to make sure you have full replacement cost on the contents, and you do pay extra for that, and it is pricey, but without it, you're going to get, you know, very minimal coverage. And
So the
a settlement.
75-inch flat screen TV I have, if I just did a basic value on it, there's no chance if it got damaged,
You're going to get a new one.
I'm going to get a new one. I'm going to get like a 22-inch black and white.
Yes, they're going to depreciate it. Absolutely.
Wow,
So,
okay.
so you want to make sure that coverage is on there. But there's other limitations within that contents limit of 100,000 for jewelry, watches, furs, guns. A lot of policies have limitations for guns. So, you know, a lot of people right now are
Value limitations?
collecting guns, and so a lot of policies will limit your gun coverage to $1,000. So if you're collecting guns or you're a gun collector, there's a difference. Then
Let's explain.
no.
Oh, okay.
Well, you know, gun collectors like to, you know. Anyway,
That's a topic for another show.
another show, yes. But you know, if you've only got $1,000 limit on your homeowner's policy, and somebody comes in and steals all your guns,
Yeah.
then
Oh,
you're
wow.
really not going to be happy when the insurance company says,
and
"Well, here's
those,
$1,000 check."
Semi-automatic machine guns cost more than $1,000.
They do, I guess.
You guess, yeah.
So you know, guns, jewelry's typically limited to 1,000 or 2,500. You know, people ask me all the time, you know, should I buy extra insurance for my jewelry? And I will usually tell them, you know, look at your jewelry, see what you have is valued sentimental value,
Right.
which you're not going to replace, versus those items that you really would want to replace. You know, your diamond engagement set that's worth $10,000, or the diamond ring that your mother left you that's worth $40,000. Those are the kind of things you might actually want to insure, as far as your jewelry go.
Can I insure something that's in somebody else's possession
You can insure.
that doesn't live with me?
Well, what do you want to insure?
Like a $10,000
No.
wedding band set that I no
No.
longer have possession of?
Yeah, no.
And then, you know, and then I don't know, something's mysteriously going to happen.
Something's going to mysteriously disappear? Yes. No, you cannot do that.
Darn.
But, you know, so your jewelry, watches, guns, furs, we don't have to worry too much about that in Florida. Tools.
So I can't
sometimes-
insure my fur?
You can insure your fur, absolutely.
okay.
It's limited on your homeowner policy, and you can
Okay.
buy extra coverage for that.
With my white fluffy dog?
Yes.
That's what I walk my dog in.
So what you totally got me off on that one. Where was I going? Jewelry, watches, guns, tools.
Right.
Tools somewhat are limited as well. So you just want to, when you sit down and everyone should review your insurance policy every year. When you get your policy in, take 5 minutes to kind of run through the coverage limits, call your agent, you know, is there anything that's changed? What do I need to know? What kind of limitations do I have? Spend a little bit of time on the front end, and that way there won't be any surprises on the back end.
Is there, you know, just in case we're talking about frauds and scams, and obviously you want to trust your agent as much as possible. Would there be any kind of recommendation of someone, a neutral third party, that for people out there that say, you know what, if we're worried about scams and frauds, and I'm going to the agent himself, and I may be worried, obviously you should change insurance companies,
Right.
but you know, if you don't check every once in a while, then you end up getting continually taken to the bank, and
Sure.
20
Sure.
years later you never realize that's what Bernie Madoff made his billions.
Right.
Um,
Well, one of the services that we offer is to do just that.
Okay.
We do what you might call a second opinion.
oh, okay. like that.
And we will look at your insurance policy. We will give you a quote. We'll tell you what you're missing. We'll give you, and we'll tell you the truth. You know what? You're with a great company. You've got excellent coverage.
Like that.
You may or may not want to consider these things as a second opinion. And if you're happy with your agent, you're happy with the company, you know, we've done our service. We like to educate clients. And what we find is, even if they don't become our client that year, that at some point in the future they may become our client, or they may refer somebody else to us. So I really like to take the time to make sure people are comfortable with what they have.
Right.
And so if they're not quite sure, we can act as that
Okay. I
third
like that.
party or second
Yes.
opinion, like you would with a doctor
Yeah.
going to get a second
I like
opinion,
that.
so that you can feel comfortable. Yes, you know, my agent's telling me, this agent told me the same thing, so now, you know, I feel pretty comfortable with where I'm at. So
But also, if they don't want to leave their current agent, if they're happy, you know, the referral. You know,
Right.
if they got friends or family or relatives that are switching or don't have it, and
Right.
and you do such a great job to take care of them, they can say, hey, listen, we're happy with who we have, but you know, they went out of their way and we didn't even use them.
Right.
That's priceless.
Right.
You don't find that.
Well, and if somebody is my client and they went to another agent and that agent told them how great I was and that I had done a really, really great job,
Yeah.
it builds rapport in our industry as well. And let's face it, most people don't like insurance. They don't want to pay for it. They don't want it until there's a problem, and then they are so happy they have it.
Yeah.
But we fight that battle over and over every single day. So agents in the community, I think all in all, do a good job of trying to make sure their customers are protected. I mean, there's always a few
Yeah.
that are all about the sale,
Right.
and I think that you know, we know who they are, and we just point out the things that are missing,
Right.
and clients should look at that.
We're listening with we're here with Kathy Post. We're not going to take a break quite yet, but here with Kathy Post, you listen to Comfort Time Live, and we're talking about different things with insurance, things that perhaps could be missed on your insurance policy, perhaps things that you weren't quite sure about. So give us a call here at the studio if you have a question, a comment, or a suggestion. 772-340-1590. That's 340-1590. And Kathy, now, obviously in South Florida we have a lot of retirees. We have a lot of swimming pools, and a lot of our swimming pools have these wonderful, beautiful hurricane catchers.
Yes,
And,
bird cages, as we like to call them.
Hurricanes, I like
Yes.
that. Special protection, special insurance.
Absolutely. This is something that's come about over the last 10 years, particularly. Insurance companies have limited coverage for screen enclosures. So not all of them, but most companies now, you have to endorse on coverage for your screen enclosure, and you have to pick a value. So if you don't, and you're not aware that you have to do that, and then we have a storm, and that screen enclosure gets blown away, then you could find yourself with no coverage for that.
So if I walk in and just insure my house,
Insure my house. And
you
they,
got to also tell them, hey, by the way,
do you have a screen enclosure?
okay,
Do you have a screen enclosure that's under roof? Because if they're under your regular roof line, they're not considered screen enclosures. They're part of the house.
okay,
But if it is under like an aluminum roof or some other type
Right.
of roof not similar to your same roof, or if you have a screen enclosure over a pool, then you typically have to buy insurance for that separately. Right now, I think there are only 2 to 3 companies left that automatically include it. Most of the
Oh,
others
okay.
take it out, and then you have to buy it back. Yes.
Like
yes.
they're not making billions enough dollars to begin
Yeah.
with.
Well, you know, that is where the majority of the losses is in screen enclosures. So they decided that we're going to price this for the exposure that we get, and customers can buy what they want. And so, yes, it can be expensive. I mean, you could be spending $400 to $500 just to insure your screen enclosure. So it's important to know that, particularly if you're going to move from one insurance company to another. You know, your rate goes up and you think, I'm going to shop it. Let me go out and take a look and get some other quotes. pay attention to that coverage, because that's one of the areas that if somebody's not really doing their due diligence, that coverage can be left off, save you $400 or $500. You're thinking, oh, sweet deal, but then you find out later that you don't have that coverage when you really, really need it. So be aware of that. Yes.
So and screen enclosures could be expensive.
Yes, after the storms especially, because
Yeah.
as you know, costs go up, and what was a $10,000 screen enclosure then becomes an $18,000 screen enclosure weeks after the storm.
Called price gouging.
Yes,
Yeah,
I think
it's
that's what it
illegal.
costs.
Illegal,
It's
isn't
supposed
it?
to be illegal, isn't it?
It's supposed to be.
Yes,
But
exactly.
yeah.
So just a-
watch how many people go around policing that after the storm.
Yes, yes.
As
So it's just
opposed to the-
another, just another one of those little items that aren't so little
Right.
if you have a problem and if you have a claim.
Now, with the screen enclosure, and I know we probably talked about this on the last show here with Kathy, Post for Post Insurance. Now, if you want to get in contact with Kathy, we can go to Kathy's website, which is insurewithpost.com. That's insurewithpost.com. Or you can give her a call on her personal cell phone at 2 in the morning, and that's at 772-878-8184.
That would be it.
That
It'll
would
go
be it.
straight to my voicemail.
So insurewithpost.com, and there's all kinds of great information on there. Now, a question that just popped into my head regarding screen enclosures, because obviously you're going to have flying debris with screen enclosures if they get demolished or whatnot. Is that a separate part of your policy, or is if it damages something, it's that person's insurance that would cover it?
No, it would be your insurance if it covers it. So if it happens.
Right.
So if the tree from the neighbor's yard falls onto your screen enclosure and takes it
Okay.
out due to a hurricane, then that is your responsibility,
Okay.
not the neighbor's. And if you don't have the screen enclosure coverage, you would not have coverage for
And what if a
that.
part of my screen enclosure flew into the neighbor's house? His insurance
His
covers
insurance
it.
would cover it.
Okay, so there's no
Yeah.
special insurances or anything. for that.
Exactly, right.
Okay.
So you're okay with that.
Okay, part of that coverage.
Yeah.
Now you had a website or something.
I do want
was
to
it?
mention about you mentioned about the website. One of the things, if you go onto our website, there are all kinds of insurance wizards and home inventory, a lot of free information there and resources that consumers can
Insurance
use.
Wizard.
Yeah.
What is that?
Like, you know,
I like the
just
sound of that.
yeah, it's just little tips and tricks, and you can put
Okay.
information in and it'll give you values and
Oh,
all kinds
wow,
of neat
okay.
stuff. So you go on there and there's wizards and there's a home inventory.
Witches and
so
warlocks and goblins and
yes. There's a home inventory, so if you want to keep track of what
Oh,
your home
nice.
inventory is, which for fires would be really helpful. Of course, what I recommend to clients is take your cell phone into each room and just click, 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 take pictures, store them on your computer,
or the cloud.
email, or on the cloud,
Yeah.
so that if you ever had a loss, you've got that information readily available. Don't keep it just on your cell phone, because of course it can get lost. But there's all kinds of information on our website, so definitely check it out just
Okay.
for resource purposes, and feel free to use it. Also, want to mention another website. We were talking about all the rain that we had earlier today. There's a floodsmart.gov website, and this is a great interactive tool. You can go in and put in the square footage of your house, and you have 2 inches of water, and it will tell you approximately how much damage 2 inches of water is going to have to your home.
Oh, and I can
It is
imagine.
a fabulous, cool
And it's
tool.
probably a huge
It
dollar
is
amount.
a lot more than what you really realize. Most people say, oh, 1 or 2 inches is not going to be a big deal, but it can be thousands and thousands of dollars just for the 1 to 2 inches. And you can play around with it. It's really cool. It's called floodsmart.gov,
Okay.
supported by the National Flood Program, but it's got a lot of great information about flood insurance, because, of course, we really want to encourage people to have flood insurance. Your homeowner policy never covers flooding.
Never hear that.
Ever.
Flood
Never,
insurance
ever.
in Florida.
Yes.
Florida is below water to begin with.
Yes.
So it's a smart thing to make sure and have flood insurance,
Yes.
even if you're in that built-up mound of dirt that they call And you talked about this before.
Yeah, I mean, flooding is rising water, tidal action. There's a lot of, we have a lot of rain. It's been raining the last few days. If all of a sudden we had 2 or 3 storms back to back, we could have serious flooding in this area, just like we did before.
Yeah, because the flood zone doesn't necessarily mean about the level of ground. If the city's water system or drainage system,
That's right.
like it did not last year or the year before that.
Faye, tropical
Uh,
storm Faye.
It wasn't even. I don't even know if it was a tropical storm. If I'm not positive.
Okay.
It might have been.
I
but,
remember that. We were on our 4 acres up there in Fort Pierce.
Yeah.
Our 4 acres up there was flooded out.
Yeah, and that's because I was staying off of Kashmir, at place there, and it
Couldn't get in.
never
St.
had an
Lucie West
issue.
at all.
Yeah, but because the little lake that they had there, or not really lake, but whatever
The
they call
retention ponds.
it. There you
Mhm.
go.
Yes.
It sounds like 2 syllables.
Yeah.
I mean, it blocked up, it filled up, but that wasn't necessarily classified as a flood zone.
Well, right. I mean, St. Lucie West is not a flood zone.
Right.
And what happened is the water was coming through the drain pipes and being fed back to the retention ponds. The retention ponds are overflowing back into the streets, and it's just this circle. And so there's a lot of water issues that is regulated by South Florida Water Management and the cities and the this and the that. And so even though you're not in a flood zone, you are definitely you can flood. It's
Because it's
definitely
not
gonna
Mother
happen.
Nature that you're just looking at. You're looking at the
Right.
man-made things too that cause those.
And the other thing is that the federal government recently has gone through and redone a lot of the a lot of the flood zones, but it's just somebody's opinion.
Yeah.
And how often has there been the potential for flooding? So, it's
You can imagine how many people that weren't in flood zones that ended up being flooded.
Right.
Look at the statistics on that.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly. So
absolutely.
just because they say you're in a flood zone or you're not, doesn't mean one way or the other whether you're going to be flooded or not.
Okay, great. Well, we're going to go ahead and take another quick break, talk to some of our sponsors here. But when we come back, how about your limits? Do you have dwelling limits on your house? Are they enough to rebuild for total loss? You're here with Kathy Post. I'm Tom Platania, and you're listening to Comfort Time Live on WPSL 1590. We'll be right back.
The Sunshine State can sometimes get wet and windy fast. United Water Restoration Group is here to help. As one of the largest water damage restoration companies covering the state of Florida, their team of highly trained water, fire, and mold remediation experts are here to help, arriving at your house within 45 minutes of your call, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you have a leak, mold, fire, or home damage issue, call for a free in-home inspection and estimate. 888-535-4909.
Known for helping you keep that spark, now they'll help you keep cool. Elite Electric and Air, the official air conditioning sponsor of Comfort Time Live, has provided the best in heating and cooling customer service since 1988. If your electric bill is costing you more than 12 cents per square foot under air, you may be overpaying the utility company. Elite Electric and Air can help put that cash back in your pocket. Call Elite Electric and Air with 24-hour service. Dial 340-3797. That's 340-3797. $3.2 billion a year are scammed and defrauded from consumers like you. Comfort Time Live, a part of the Treasure Coast Radio Network, is here to put a stop to that. Listen every Thursday night at 6:05. Find out what you can do to protect yourself. Your home is your castle. Protect it. Each week, your host, Tom Platania, and his expert guests will help educate and provide you with the best information to guide you in the right direction. That's Comfort Time Live, Thursday nights at 6:05 here on WPSL.
There's nothing wrong with your radio. We're returning you now to Comfort Time Live.
All right, we are back. I had a friend watching the show online, and she just now realized that it was an old show.
Oh.
She says, I think I was listening to an old one on a laptop. She goes, are you with the lady in pink top?
There you go.
You got the right one. Unless she's maybe, I don't know if you had that
No, I had red on last
You had red
time.
on last. How do you remember that?
I've only been here twice.
Oh, that's true. I don't even remember what
I
I had
remember
on
because
yesterday.
I remember because when I walked in thinking I was going to be on the radio, then you informed me at that point that
Oh,
you're
that you're on
actually going to
video
see me.
too.
Yes,
Oh.
which was not very nice. You should
Oh.
always warn your guests that they are going to be
I
on.
blame that on Heidi that time.
Yes,
Yeah, of
because-
course. I wasn't going to take the
No,
blame.
of course not. Yeah.
No.
So that's
But,
why I remember what I was wearing.
And you
because-
realized that that show was posted on YouTube, and that there was quite a few listeners
Yes, that's
and
what
viewers.
I remember.
Yeah,
hearing.
this one's going
Yes.
to be on too.
I was so excited when I left. I had like texts from friends and clients. I just heard you on the radio. It's like, wow.
Wow,
That's
see,
very
you need to
cool.
Be you need to be
Well,
a
that's the
permanent.
cool thing
Yes.
about these shows because you can share them on your Facebook. You know,
Oh, we are on socially wise. We are on this show when it's done. It gets posted on Comfort Time Live, UStream, YouTube, Spreaker, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. Soon, hopefully, to be iHeartRadio. Um, it's all over the place.
So you have to be very careful what you say.
So feel free to share and like.
I'm either
Comfort
going to
Time
be
Live.
I'm either going to be loved by a lot or hated by a lot.
Well, the bad guys already hate you because they know about the superhero thing.
The superhero.
I didn't release it yet.
Not yet.
No.
Look.
I'm going to see if you're going to make a good offer for me not to release it first.
I missed that apparently.
Yeah. I'm.
It's the unlicensed contractors
Yeah.
out there. You know.
Oh, yes.
They're not going to like
I
it.
actually go for my real estate license test Friday, next Friday.
Wow.
Yes. So it's another topic to add to the show. You know,
Excellent.
what better? We're talking about. We have guests on the show that deal with anything to do with your home. Well, what better thing to do than to be a part of the real estate community to be able to talk about more about homes and the different homes that we see and the different issues we see and foreclosures and rates and things of that nature. So
See, and instead of hiring somebody to go out there and do a radio show about it, he's got enough talent to actually pull it off himself.
oh, I mean, I got amazing ideas already. I mean, with all the video and I mean, actually go and do a virtual sale of a house with video, audio, and post it on my websites. I mean, just create like a little short movie about it.
Very cool. I mean,
Virtual.
Very excited about
walkthroughs, huh?
that.
Now, I copyrighted that, so if there's any real estate agents out there listening to that right now that do not do that, that is copyrighted by Tom Platini at Comfort Time Live.
He'll be glad to share it with you for a fee.
For a fee.
Well, good luck with the test. I hope
only
that goes.
Yeah, I just took the pre-license. I finished the pre-license course, and I guarantee you 90% of what I learned in that I'm never going to use. Because did you know that the government survey method was used in the 13th colony? Yeah, I need to know.
You need to know that.
I need to know that to sell
Well,
real
what if somebody
estate.
was? How far back does that go?
Right.
And I'm reading some of this stuff, and I'm like, what the heck does this have to do with real estate?
Right.
I don't know, but yeah, I did. I got an 83 on the pre-license. I wasn't too happy with that, but and you know they say it's pass or fail. Period. You don't even get a grade.
Right.
You either pass, or you fail. Period. So I hear it's tough, but I mean, when I took the contractor's license, that was 2 grueling days, 8 hours each day of testing.
Wow. I've heard that's like a really, really difficult test.
It's difficult, but it's open book. But there's 22 books that stack that are 3 feet high. So the teaching of that to learn how to take the test is just where to find the information.
Right.
So it's different than this because this is all memorization.
Right.
And it's 100 questions, 3 hours, all multiple choice, a lot of math, which I'm not too worried about the math. But, I mean, it gets into the dock stamp taxes and the deed taxes and the fee simple estates and joint tenancies and joint commons and
All kinds of fun
Ah,
stuff
just,
that you'll certainly need to know when you're doing a radio show.
exactly. I mean, hey, tenancy by the entries is you know it's just different things like that. But anyway,
It's cool.
You can
Yeah,
sell
it's
houses
cool.
on the side. Be a famous announcer.
There
and-
you go.
well, I
So-
definitely plan on promoting some of it on the show. But why not? I got 4 radio shows now.
There you go.
Why not? So so how about dwelling limits? I got a house. First off, what is a dwelling limit?
A dwelling limit is the amount of coverage that you're going to have on the structure itself.
Nothing
All the
inside, just physical
right,
structure.
just the structure and any attached, fixtures and things like that. Your carpet that's attached to the floor is
Okay.
part of the dwelling.
Ceiling fan.
Ceiling fan,
Okay.
things like that. So that is part of your dwelling, and your insurance policy has a dwelling limit,
Okay.
and that number should be enough to rebuild your house. It needs to be enough to rebuild your house. So a typical question that we get, and in fact, I think we had a caller last time call in about the value of my house. My insurance value is a lot more than what I can sell it for, or what the tax
Yeah.
assessor has it. And basically, we look at what
'Cause
it
he paid
costs.
too much for the house.
Well, but what it's going to cost to rebuild that house is
Right.
much, much more than what you can sell it today.
Okay.
So that's why insurance companies use very sophisticated software programs to determine how much is it going to cost to rebuild. We're looking for additional costs for engineering and debris removal and a lot of those things that go into that figure. So that's why we don't just say, well, what did you pay for it? And because we're not going to insure it for that.
Right.
And so we're pretty sophisticated about how much, and most insurance companies don't deviate very much from what they recommend that you should insure your house for. And I've never had a client when they had a total fire loss say, oh my gosh, I wish I would have had less insurance.
I can't imagine anybody saying
No,
that.
they don't.
Yeah.
So the insurance companies really are pretty spot on about what it costs to rebuild.
All right.
So
We're here with the Comfort Time Live. You're listening to Kathy Post, 772-340-1590 if you have questions, comments, or suggestions for that. Now,
let me just mention something else about that too, Tom.
absolutely.
Keep in mind that when you do renovations and additions and things like that, that it's really a good time to call your insurance company or
Ooh, an
agent
upgrade.
and just talk to them about the amount of coverage. We have clients who call when there's a storm coming, and they'll say, I forgot to tell you we added on a screen enclosure. We forgot to tell you we added on an addition. And at that point, depending on where the storm is, we may or may not be able to add that coverage right away. So you want to make sure that as you're in the process of doing those renovations and additions, that you get with your agent to make sure that you get the additional coverage added on, prior to the storm, coming
Yeah.
about.
What was the distance again? You said.
The distance is different,
For
but
the
basically insurance companies, they monitor storms, and when they see the cone of opportunity and all that type of thing, then they just decide, sometimes I think on a whim, hey, we're going to go ahead and shut down binding authority. They'll send us emails, and we can not do any homeowners insurance. We typically can't expand coverage for cars. If you have to add another vehicle, boat insurance, there's a lot that goes into not being able to write any new insurance or make any changes or additions to current policies. So it's important that people stay on top of their policies well before, or if you see the storm coming off the coast of Africa, that's a good time to call, not when it comes across Puerto Rico. Then it's going to get late.
Most of the guys will call right about then.
Yes,
'cause
they
we're
do.
all procrastinating.
The thing about flood, too, let me mention about flood insurance. Flood insurance has a 30-day waiting period. So we can do flood coverage when there's a storm pending because the policy doesn't become effective for 30 days.
Oh,
so
now is
keep that in
is
mind
that because
when you
some
want to buy
people
flood
are trying
insurance.
they get a flood, they call in up, and they're expecting you're going to cover it right away, and
Right.
then they go claim the.
So there's a 30-day wait for flood insurance to become effective.
Air conditioning companies do that with air conditioning and getting extended warranties through the manufacturers all the time. All the time. When I was a manufacturer's rep for one of the larger companies, we found a company down in Jupiter. Hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now an air conditioning warranty is not that expensive. Okay. So hundreds of thousands, and what they were doing is they had hundreds and hundreds of clients, and they would buy a few policies, and then they would submit the claims on those policies as well. Or they would go out and do a repair on somebody who didn't have a policy. They would make the repair. They would buy a policy against the repair, but they would wait. They would wait to submit the claim.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I hope they got in big trouble.
Oh,
for
they
that.
did. They did.
Good.
But the tough thing was that one of the guys that was involved in it turned around and opened up his own air conditioning company.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. And he's allowed.
And he's allowed to do
He
that.
was allowed to do it because there was no formal charges brought against him. There was charges brought against the company owner, but he was the manager in charge that had to do with all of it.
Oh
And
gosh.
it's unbelievable. It's inside information, so I can't really tell the company's name.
Right.
If it was public information, I could, but
Of course.
and it's a shame that stuff like that just doesn't get out, because I guarantee you he's doing the same thing to the clients that he has now, and it's a shame.
And it just drives up costs.
Yeah, it does. It really and actually at that point in time, the manufacturers ended up going through some huge process and started looking at all claims, and they reevaluated everything, and that's probably what these insurance
Right.
companies are doing
Right. They did.
all the time.
Well, it's like the storms that we're going through in 2004 and 5, and the things that were pushed through, and the number of unlicensed contractors that were doing business. And people have to really do their due diligence in making sure that they are doing business with a licensed contractor, an insured contractor, and so that and they should check them out. They need to have some references, because it's amazing to me the number of people that we have now that had roofs from 04 and 05 that are now having problems. And it's
Is there a good place to go check out insurance companies?
Well, you can go to the Department of Insurance website,
Okay.
and there are some areas where you can get feedback about their number of complaints,
Okay.
things like that. So it definitely tells you how they rank based on complaints, and that's a
Okay.
good place to go.
And you don't have any?
Oh no,
No, no,
of course
I'm
not.
telling you. Don't.
No, we don't.
Yes,
no.
you don't.
But actually, they're actually just the companies.
Right.
As far as agents go, there really is no reference point. If you want, there's a Florida Association of
You weren't
Insurance
supposed to
Agents.
say that. I was
Oh,
just, that's really
sorry.
That's okay. You blew my cover, you
I'm
know.
sorry.
Now people aren't
See,
going to
now
trust
don't see how honest I really am. You know, she couldn't even take the bait on that and just run with it. But there is Florida Association of Insurance Agents, and so you can go to that group and find out if your agent is a member, and because there's an ethical standard that's expected of agents
Right.
that are a member of that association. So
Well, as good as the economy's getting, I mean, especially with the way the markets, a couple days ago it was down a little bit, but the market's doing very well. People are actually going out and buying, toys, golf carts and
Yes.
boats and jet skis and RVs. We got a couple minutes left, but I mean, how are they covered?
Well, those are the items too. Again, you need to talk to your agent about, because your RVs, your trailers, travel trailers, boats, those kinds of things do need separate insurance
They do,
policies.
okay.
Jet skis, all those types of things. So you definitely want to talk to your agent about that to make sure that you've got the proper protection on that. I have to make sure I mention that we
Please.
just rolled out our new brand, our new
Yeah, your new
logo.
logo.
Did you
It's
see that?
sharp, yeah.
The key to peace of mind.
Yeah.
We're very excited about that. Post Insurance is getting ready to enter their 35th year in business, and so we thought it was time to go
Were you
ahead
like
and
5 when you started?
yes. Yes, thank you. So we're getting ready to. So we
Awesome.
decided it was time to rebrand, and so
Well, when
we
you
rolled
go
out
to-
the Key of Peace of Mind. So check it out on our website
Yeah,
at
insurewithpost.com.
Insurewithpost.com.
Awesome.
Thank you so much
Yeah,
for having
it
me.
was a pleasure having you back, and I hope that you will visit us on
I
WSTU.
absolutely will visit you again.
Yes, yes. Okay, I'm going to put her on pressure.
I want to hear about the Bichon.
Oh, God. That's over a lot of vodka and
Yeah,
cranberries.
we need a photo on the website. What do you
All right, ladies and gentlemen, well, thank you again for listening to Comfort Time Live. We have Kathy Post with us. Awesome show. Don't forget to listen to us on WSTU on Tuesday at 10 a.m. or next week here on WPSL. We got a great guest coming up next week. I forget who it is. I'm teasing.
Not as good as me.
Hey, we got Jack Kelly coming on in a couple weeks. Yeah, he's going to be on. So
Did his hair ever grow back?
I don't know.
It grows
He's
back.
going to
you know.
surprise us. All right, thanks for listening, and have an absolutely great weekend.
Good night, everybody.
Comfort Time Live on Digital 1590, the talk of the Treasure Coast, and of course, webcaster to the world.